One of the things that you hear from many Christians today is he kept the law for you so you don't have to. When God sees you, he sees Jesus. And this is the doctrine of demons, right? That you don't have to do anything for your salvation. But you even see by God, he tells you work out, or maybe it's by Paul or whatever, work out your salvation with fear and trembling. With fear and trembling. What's the fear of God? It's the keeping of the Ten Commandments. You learn that in Deuteronomy 6. And so I try to look up some of the places that Christians use to make this up. One of the places is Galatians, the book of Galatians. And Christians completely mess this all up, right? They don't understand what Galatians is talking about because they don't understand Paul. They twist Paul's words to their own destruction. Like, nobody reads this verse in 2 Peter 3. They twist Paul's words to their own destruction. Why do you think Peter's going to warn you that in the last days, people are going to twist Paul's words? Because most of the people are going to be twisting his words. And he spoke nothing different than what Peter and what Yeshua said. So now, right, what you should do, right, at the beginning, what you should do, ignore Paul for a second and read Yeshua's words, read Peter's words, read literally what God said in the Old Testament, but you guys just throw out the Old Testament. So read what Yeshua said. He said, if you love me, keep my commandments. He said that plenty of times. If you wanted to enter into the kingdom, have eternal life, keep the commandments. Revelation 22, verse 14. Right, blessed are they that do or keep his commandments, for they shall have right to the tree of life and enter in to the city. But without her whoremongers, sorcerers, idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. Right, you got to keep the commandments to enter into the kingdom. So now what Paul says, it's not going to contradict anything like that. So that's where you got to start off. Right, you got to base yourself off of that foundation. And so now we're going to go to Galatians 2. So Galatians 2, verse 16. Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law. Right, so what is the works of the law? But by the faith of Yeshua Messiah, even we have believed in Yeshua Messiah that we might be justified by the faith of Yeshua and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. So what is this work of the law? And why did Paul write the book of Galatians? Well, you see in Acts 15 that there's this contention that comes about where people say that they must keep the law of Moses, right, be circumcised to be saved. And again, so in Acts 15, they say that there's these things that they will put the Gentiles under, right? Don't fornicate with idols or whatever. Don't eat things to idols. Don't eat things strangled. Don't touch the blood or whatever, right? This is pointing to the two covenants of promise, not the sacrificial law. Because this is what Paul and everybody is always pointing to, right? Because this is what the gospel was about, right? Yeshua ended the sacrificial law, the law of Moses that he wrote, and he refreshed the Ten Commandments. So, verse 17, but if, while we seek to be justified by Yeshua, we ourselves also are found sinners, is therefore Yeshua the minister of sin? God forbid. For if I build again the things which I destroyed, I make myself a transgressor. So I know I keep starting and stopping. But really, like, Galatians 3, it points to the difference between the faith of Yeshua and then the works of the law. Where you even got to ask yourself, like first, how do you receive the Spirit? Right? John 14, 15 through 17 tells you about how to receive the Spirit of truth. It's by keeping the Ten Commandments. Right? You praise to the Father, and then you'll receive the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive. Why can't they receive the Spirit of truth? Because they don't keep the commandments. So that's the distinction between the faith of Yeshua and the works of the law. Right? So, verse 2 of Galatians 3, this only what I learned of you. Received ye the Spirit by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith? Right, so how did you receive the Spirit of truth? Well, Christians, they don't have the Spirit of truth because they don't keep the commandments. Because the only way to receive the Spirit, as Yeshua says, where you have to have your foundation on what Yeshua says. It's by keeping the Ten Commandments. If you don't get the Ten Commandments, you don't have the Spirit. So that's what the hearing of faith is. It's the keeping the commandments. The works of the law is a sacrificial law. You don't receive the Spirit through keeping the sacrificial law. You keep it, or you receive it through keeping the Ten Commandments. Are you so foolish, having begun in spirits, are you now made perfect by the flesh? Have you suffered so many things in vain, if it be yet in vain? He therefore that ministereth to you the Spirit, and worketh miracles among you, doeth he by the works of the law, or by the hearing of faith? Right, I won't get into the rest of Galatians 3, but this so plainly puts it.